today we speak to Emily Hayes, Qantas Talent Acquisition Manager. Emily joined us last year with so much recruitment experience. She now leads our team to find talent for both our UK and US office. I spoke with Emily about advice for job seekers, so including CV tips, counter offers, and tackling handing in your notice. Enjoy. Hi Emily, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
So my name's Emily Hayes. I'm the TA manager here at Quanta. I've been here for just under a year now, which has gone really quickly. And then previous to working at Quanta, I worked as a 360 recruitment consultant for about 10 years in construction, engineering industries. So I've been in recruitment for quite a while.
So during your experience, you've seen all kinds of candidates, I imagine, and their success and sadly failures.
Yeah.
So when it comes to securing a job, we would love to hear your top tips. So I guess the start of the job seeking journey is updating the CV. What would you say is the strangest thing you've seen on a CV?
Well, I don't know if this was on purpose or not, but this was when I was working in the construction industry. And someone sent their CV as normal, attached to an email, clicked on the file, and opened it up, and it was a picture of their bum.
That is strange.
Yeah, it was very strange. I'm not sure if it was on purpose or not.
I've seen things online where people have, instead of attaching a cover letter, they've attached like a recipe that they downloaded online. It's like,
yes, there's lots of accidental things, but I'm not sure uploading your bum to a Word document.
I don't know how much of an accident that is.
I'm not sure.
So what would be your top 5 tips for creating a standout CV?
I would kind of say make sure you show kind of your own personality. Have very clear chunks on your CV, so make it easy to read, have it in blocks of employment, have bullet points rather than long paragraphs. Also no longer than 2 pages, because realistically someone's not going to read a CV that's about 10 pages long. And any exciting achievements you have, so anything that you've had in your role that makes you stand out from the crowd, whether it be a qualification or an award or something like that. And I would always say make sure you write your CV yourself. There's nothing worse than someone who doesn't know you or really know your experience writing your CV, and it just looks awful. You can tell it's not come from that person as soon as you speak to them. So I'd definitely say write it yourself.
Yeah, because that's easy to tell then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cover letters, are these guys still a thing?
Really, no. I think they're kind of old news. Some people do still use them, but I think it's better to kind of add a good intro onto an email, and then just add your CV, because I'd say 9 times out of 10 employers will probably skip the cover letter and just go straight to the CV to see where you've worked and for how long. I don't reckon they really read cover letters, so it's a bit of a waste of time.
Okay. Interview tips. So obviously they're notoriously terrifying.
Yes.
How would you suggest someone trying to avoid nerves sabotaging their chance of a successful interview?
Definitely do as much prep as possible. So bring notes. There's nothing wrong with writing everything down in a notepad and bringing it along with you, so you can refer back if you need to. Always turn up to the interview early as well. If you're stressing, stuck in traffic, you're going to come in all flustered. So I'd always say turn up really early, even if it means sitting in the car for a little while. But yeah, definitely prep is kind of the main thing, I guess. Just making sure you've got your notes, making sure you've looked at the company, looked at the role, and you'll just feel so much easier once they start asking you questions.
Having it written down is probably best, because your mind goes blank.
Yeah, you can easily refer back then. There's nothing wrong with having it there. They'd rather you have it there and look at your notepad than not know the answer.
And you look prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of prep is advised.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I'd say the more you prepare, the more successful you will be. Making sure, like I said, you do your research on the company, research all your interviewers, have lots of questions to ask. I always advise people to write a minimum of 10 questions down that they want to ask the interviewer, because you will get a lot of your questions answered throughout the interview process, and you don't want to be stuck at the end like, oh, I don't have any questions. So if you write loads down, you're definitely going to have a couple at the end still to be able to ask.
I think researching the interview is a really good idea, and I think recently we had someone here who's now started, and I was doing a meet the team on their second interview, and she knew like how long I'd been here and what department I worked in, and that we were all really impressed. And when she left the room, we were like, oh my God, she knows all that stuff.
It is impressive. And also it's just makes you feel nicer as the interviewer or meet the person that's doing the meet the team. You're like, oh, they've actually taken the time to find out about me.
Yeah, it was really good. What's the best questions you've heard a candidate ask during an interview?
This was a tough one because there's never really been kind of the same types of questions. There's lots of funny questions and that people ask. But I'd say kind of one of the best ones was, how could I impress you in my first 3 months of employment? Because you are coming into an interview, obviously you want to find out everything about the company, but you want to know what's going to make you successful and what the business actually wants out of you. So I always think that's a good one that people ask. Yeah, just around kind of how you can impress them, how you do well in your first 6 months, things like that, that kind of get the interviewer to think, oh, they do actually care, they are interested.
They want to do well.
Yeah, exactly.
So if they're successful with their interview, obviously then there's handing in your notice. If you're still employed, handing in notice. Do you have any tips for that?
Yes. I mean, it's never easy. It's always a horrible thing to do, but I suppose you just have to bite the bullet and do it. But I would definitely say going in confident with your reasons why you're leaving is always good. So, because they are going to ask you why, and you want to give a genuine reason. And also don't let them guilt trip you into staying. If you generally want to leave, accepting a counter offer isn't going to make you happy in the long run. You might get a little bit more money, but 6 months down the line, the reasons why you wanted to leave are never going to have changed. So I would say stick to your guns, just be confident, go in and do it. You also don't have to do it in person. You can send an email. So if you're really scared and you don't want to do it in person, feel free to send an email.
Hit send.
It's fine. Yes, it doesn't always have to be done in person. They probably will then bring you in and you will have to answer questions, but it kind of maybe kills that first bit of handing it in. Yeah.
So you mentioned counter offers. How would you advise a candidate to deal with a counter offer?
So I would definitely say, I mean, before you even get to the point of handing your notice to get a counter offer, if the reason you want to leave is for more money or things like work flexibility or something that can be changed within a business, then I'd definitely address that with your employer before you even start looking elsewhere. Because if the only reason you want is for more money, then they'll probably give it to you. If they don't, if you kind of plead your case why you have a pay rise and why you should have a promotion, make sure you obviously have genuine reasons to back this up and why you deserve it. If they don't then give it to you and you then hand in your notice because you found something better and they then give it to you, I would look at that as a really big negative, big red flag. Why didn't they value you enough in the first place? Why didn't they think you were worthy enough to pay rise? And the only reason they give it to you is because they're scared for you to leave. So I would always address the issues of a counteroffer unless you genuinely want to leave for other reasons. But if the only reason is for money and things like that, I would address that before you even get to the point of interviewing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of covered off, and okay, they're not going to give it to me. If it comes to it, and they do, I would always advise to leave because they didn't value enough in the first place.
And if you're leaving for other reasons, then a bit more money is probably
then just go.
Just go. Just leave.
It's just something else that can't be changed, and just definitely leave.
Yeah. So, final question. As you've been in the industry for some time, what is the weirdest excuse that someone has given you for not showing up to an interview?
Well, this was when I was working in the construction industry, so not as professional as recruiters sometimes. And I had a site manager ring me half an hour before his interview and said that he's just left his mate's house from being on a bender and hadn't gone to bed yet, clearly still very drunk, but asked my advice and said, did I think he should still go to the interview? And I advised him definitely not to, and that he should just go to sleep. And I didn't hear from him again.
That is so funny. Why would you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest, but he was obviously he was very drunk, very slurry, and said, I can still make it. No, you're okay.
Maybe not.
Maybe not the best idea.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much.
That's okay.
Big thanks to Emily for joining me. Great tips there. We are hiring for both of our UK and US offices, so if you're keen to know more about these opportunities, please reach out to our team at talent@quanta-cs.com. If you'd like to get involved in future podcasts, please see the details in the show notes. Thanks for listening.